Hi family, welcome back to Ladensa Crochets. We're going to make a multicolored granny square in this video. If you find this video helpful, kindly leave a like, comment and share, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'm using these 4 shades of medium weight acrylic yarn, and I'm going to use a 4.5mm crochet hook, and I'll need a dunny needle and a pair of scissors. We're going to start with a magic ring, and this is how I make my magic ring, magic circle. So this is how I'm going to make mine. And then after we get the ring or the circle, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. Then I'm just going to make that circle smaller, and then I'm going to yarn over. So we yarn over, insert the hook into the circle and yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 and yarn over, pull through the remaining 2. Then we yarn over, insert the hook into the same circle, yarn over, pull up through 2 and pull through 2. So I've done a total of 2 double crochets. The chain 3 was our first double crochet, so we have 3 double crochets. Then we're going to chain 2 and we go back into that circle, into that ring with 3 more double crochets. So that is 1, then we have 2 and we have a third double crochet. Then again we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, back into the ring with 3 double crochets, 1, then we have 2, then we have 3, and then we're going to chain 2 again, go back into the ring with 3 more double crochets, so that is 1, then we have the second one, and we have a third double crochet. So in total you should have 4 clusters. So chain 2 again, make sure that you have 4 clusters of 3 double crochets each, fasten in the middle to close up that space, then count and make sure that you have the 4. If you have the 4, then you're going to do a slip stitch on top of the chain 3 that we began with, bring that end on top and slip stitch, then chain 1, get the pair of scissors and cut off the yarn, and we're done with the first row of the granny square. As you can see, we have 4 corners and 4 clusters of 3 double crochets each. We're going to get the second color, which is the white. So get your next color and begin with a slip knot. Then we're going to get one of the corners of our square, either of the corners, it could be any of them. So begin from any of the corners, insert the hook into the corner and pull up a loop, then slip stitch to connect the white yarn, then fasten. And the next thing that we're going to do is chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, go back into that space with 2 double crochets. The chain 3 is our first double crochet, so we're going to work 1, which is the second double crochet, and then we're going to work the third double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2, go back into that chain 2 space with 3 more double crochets to create the corner for the next round. So 3 more double crochets. Then we're going to chain 1 and skip over to the next chain 2 gap, and into that chain 2 gap we're going to do 3 double crochets, so that is 1, and then we're going to do a second double crochet and a third double crochet, then chain 2, back into that space with 3 more double crochets. So in every corner we're going to be working 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. Then as we move to the next space, we're going to chain 1. So chain 1 next and move into the third corner and place 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, then chain 2, then 3 more double crochets into the chain 2 space, that is 2 and 3. That's our third corner. Then we're going to chain 1 and skip over to the last corner, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets, and that will complete our row 2. So that's 3, then we're going to have chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into that space. Then finally we're going to chain 1, then do a slip stitch on top of the chain 3 at the beginning, bring the shorter end on top and slip stitch, then chain 1 and cut off the yarn. pull it through and fasten, and we are done with our row 2. We're going to get the third color that we're going to work with, which is the dark shade of green. Begin with a slip knot, and then we are working row 3, so we're going to get our square and begin from any corner. Do the slip stitch and fasten to secure it in place. Chain 3, which is our first double crochet. Into that space we place 2 double crochets to make 3. So that's 1 and 2. We have 3 double crochets, then chain 2 back into that space with 3 more double crochets. So that is 1, 2 and 3. So that's a corner, and then we're going to chain 1, and we have a space in between the 2 corners, and that space is only going to get 3 double crochets. So 1, 2 and 3. Then chain 1, skip over to the next corner and place 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and we have a third one. Then we're going to chain 2 back into the same space with 3 more double crochets. Then we're going to chain 1 into the next gap. We're going to place 3 double crochets. Because it's not a corner, it only gets 3 double crochets. Then chain 1, we get into the corner, and into that corner we're going to do 3 double crochets. So this is the second one and the third one, and then we chain 2. So chain 2, 1 and 2, go back into the same space with 3 more double crochets because that's a corner. Then chain 1 into the next gap, which is not a corner, we place only 3 double crochets. Next we chain 1, and into the corner we're going to do 3 double crochets, and then after the 3 double crochets, this is my third one, I'll do a chain 2 and back into that chain 2 space with 3 more double crochets because that's a corner. Then chain 1 and work into the last gap. We're going to place just 3 double crochets. Finally, we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch onto the chain 3 from the beginning. Chain 1, and sorry, I was supposed to bring the shorter end on top. So chain 1, insert the hook into the third chain, bring that end to the top. I'm just doing this to make it easier to weave in my ends. Then slip stitch, chain 1 and cut off the yarn at that point, and we're done with row 3. Fasten, and that's our square with 3 rows. If you want to continue with the 4th row, you're going to start with a slip knot. I'm working with the jungle green now. Start with a slip knot and then begin at any of the corners as usual. Slip stitch into that corner. After the slip stitch, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. That's our first double crochet. Then place 2 double crochets into the chain 1 space to make 3 double crochet cluster, and then we're going to chain 2 and back into that chain 2 gap with 3 more double crochets. So that's 2 and 3. Next we chain 1, and then into the next gap we're going to do 3 double crochets. The next 2 gaps, because they are not corners, we're going to do 3 double crochets into each one of them. So that's 3 for the first gap, chain 1 and work 3 double crochets into the next gap. That's my third double crochet, so I'll chain 1 and I'll get to the corner. In the corner I'm going to do 3 double crochets, and then after the 3 double crochets we chain 2 and back into that corner with 3 more double crochets. So by now you know the drill. Just remember that in the corner, in the part where we have the corner, we work 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. All the other spaces that are not corners will just get 3 double crochets, and each of the 3 double crochet clusters is separated by a chain 1. So I'm in the next gap where I'm placing 3 double crochets, that is after chaining 1, and then after the 3 double crochets I'm going to chain 1 and get to the corner, do 3 more double crochets into that space, and now I'll just continue with this pattern to the end. I'm in the last space, and right there after chaining 1, I'm going to do my 3 double crochets. So that is 1, then 2 and 3, then I'll chain 1 to complete by slip stitching onto the chain 3. Right there, do the slip stitch, then chain 1 and cut off the yarn, and that's the end of row 4, and that's the size of the square that I want. If you want a bigger square, you're just going to connect the yarn at one of the corners, and you're going to work the same exact way we've been working. Just make sure that you consider the corners. You're chaining 2 at the corners and doing a shell, that is 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. Now to weave in the ends, I just tie a knot between the 2 ends that are the same. So I'm working the yellow. I've already done the first knot, then I'll do a second knot, and for the first knot I make sure it's not too tight, the second one is tight, and the third one is very tight, and then I cut the yarn not too close to the knot, and also I'm not leaving a very long end. Then I get the next the next color, which is the white, the 2 ends. I start with the knot that is not tight, then the next knot will be a tight one, and then I make a third knot which is very tight, as you can see. So tighten it and cut the yarn. Make sure it's not too close to the knots. We can do this because we are working on the wrong side of the square, so there's no harm. If you have another better way of weaving in your ends, you can go on and weave them in exactly the way you feel is okay for you. So let me complete this. I'm tying the knots with the third color, just like I've done with the previous 2. So right there, I'm just making sure that the knot is very tight, and then I'll get the pair of scissors and cut off the ends. For the last color, the ends are not too close to each other, and so I'll use the darning needle and bring one of the ends closer to the other so that I can tie the knot. I'm going to get the one that I've just done at the end, and then I'll weave it in the double crochet stitches. Make sure that you're not interfering with the shape of the granny square. Then when they are close to each other, we're going to tie the knot. The first knot is not too tight, then we make the second knot tightly, so we make it tight, and we make the third knot very tight, and then after that we'll just get the pair of scissors and cut off the ends just like we've done with the others. And there we have our granny square ready. This is the wrong side and this is the right side of the granny square. I went on to make several other granny squares in the same colors for a project that I'm working. Then I'll also be doing others in other different colors, which are actually, I've already done the squares. I've already done them in these shades of blue, and I also have others in shades of red. Thank you for watching this tutorial to the end. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and see you in the next tutorial.